I was sacrificed to the monster in the mountain when I was 17. He was supposed to eat me. Instead, he married me. I spent 60 years breaking his curse, loving him, saving him. Then I died. I woke up in my village, 17 again, the day before they send me to him. This time, I'm not waiting 60 years to break the curse. The cage rattled as they carried me up the mountain. I was 17 years old, wrapped in white silk, my hands bound with ropes that bit into my wrists. The villagers who carried me didn't speak. They never spoke on these journeys. It was bad luck to talk to the sacrifice. I didn't cry. I'd cried myself dry the night before, when my mother had braided my hair and whispered that she was sorry. When my father had stood in the doorway, unable to look at me. When my younger sister had clung to my leg and begged them to choose someone else. They couldn't choose someone else. The monster demanded a bride every 10 years. A girl, 17, pure. And I was the only one who fit. I'd grown up hearing the stories. The monster came from the old kingdom, before the war, before the witch, before the curse. He'd been a prince once, they said. Handsome and proud and cruel. He'd rejected the wrong woman, and she'd made him pay. Now he lived in the mountain, waiting for brides who never came back. Some said he ate them. Some said he kept them in cages. Some said he turned them into monsters too. I didn't know what to believe. I only knew I was the next one. The cage stopped. The villagers lowered me to the ground. I heard their footsteps retreating, fast, like they couldn't get away quickly enough. Then silence. I sat in the dark, listening to the wind, waiting to die. The monster came at midnight. I heard him before I saw him. Heavy footsteps, low growls, the rustle of fur against stone. I pressed myself against the back of the cage, heart pounding, every instinct screaming at me to run. But there was nowhere to run. He stepped into the moonlight. He was enormous, twice the height of a man, covered in dark fur, with claws that could tear through steel and eyes that glowed like embers. His face was half beast, half something else. Something almost human. I'd expected a monster. I'd expected teeth and claws and death. I hadn't expected him to look so sad. He stood in front of my cage, staring at me with those glowing eyes. Then he reached out, broke the lock with one claw, and pulled open the door.
"Come," he said.
His voice was deep, rumbling, like rocks grinding together. "I won't hurt you." I didn't move. I couldn't.
He sighed.
"If I wanted to eat you, I would have done it already. I've had 17 brides. I've eaten none of them. Then what do you do with them?" He looked at me, really looked, and something flickered across his face.
Pain.
Longing. Regret. "I marry them," he said. "And I wait for one of them to love me." I should have been terrified. I should have screamed, run, hidden in the cage until he left. But I didn't. Because I saw something in his eyes that I recognized. Loneliness. Desperation. The ache of being unwanted. I'd felt that ache my whole life. I was the third daughter, the extra one, the girl my parents couldn't afford to keep. They'd raised me, fed me, clothed me, but they'd never loved me. Not the way they loved my sisters. I was invisible, expendable, perfect for the monster. "Marry me then," I said. He stared at me. "What?" "I'm already a sacrifice. I'm already dead to my village. I have nothing else. So marry me."
"I'll stay."
"I'll try to love you." I met his eyes. "It's better than dying alone." He was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached out his clawed hand. I took it. His castle was hidden in the mountain, concealed by magic so powerful that even the villagers who'd lived here for generations didn't know it existed. Stone walls and tall windows and gardens that bloomed even in winter. Servants who were ghosts, memories of people who'd served the prince before he became a monster. He was a prince. That was the first thing I learned. Prince Li Xiujun, heir to the kingdom, cursed by a witch he'd rejected. She'd given him a choice, love or death. He'd chosen neither. So she'd made him a monster, doomed to live alone until someone loved him enough to break the spell. 15 brides had come before me. 15 girls who'd seen his face and screamed, who'd locked themselves in their rooms, who died of old age waiting for a love they couldn't give. I wasn't like them. I wasn't brave. I wasn't special. I was just stubborn. I'd been raised to survive, to endure, to make the best of impossible situations. So when the monster offered me his hand, I took it. We married that night, in a chapel made of ice and magic, with ghosts for witnesses and stars for candles. He didn't kiss me. He just held my hands in his claws and whispered, "Thank you." For what I didn't know. Not then. I learned. The first years were hard. He was afraid of me, afraid of hurting me, afraid of scaring me, afraid of being rejected again. He kept his distance, spoke in whispers, left gifts outside my door. Books and flowers and jewels, things he thought I might like. I didn't want gifts. I wanted him. So I started small. I ate dinner with him, even though he didn't eat. I walked with him in the gardens, even though the other brides had hidden in their rooms. I talked to him about nothing, about everything, about the life I'd left behind. He listened. He always listened. And slowly, over months and years, he began to talk back. I learned his name on our 5th anniversary. We were sitting in the garden, watching the moon rise, when he turned to me and said, "My name is Seo Jun." I looked at him. I know.
How?
Because I asked the ghosts. They told me. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, "No one has called me by my name in 50 years. Then I'll call you by your name every day." He didn't cry. Monsters couldn't cry. But something in his face shifted, softened, became almost human. "Seo Jun," I said. "Seo Jun, Seo Jun." He reached out, took my hand in his claws, and held it like it was the most precious thing in the world. The curse didn't break that night, or the next, or the year after. The witch's magic was old, powerful, woven into his bones. It would take more than a name to undo it. But I didn't care. I wasn't trying to break the curse. I was trying to love him. And slowly, over the years, I did. I loved the way he listened, really listened, like every word I said mattered. I loved the way he remembered things I'd told him. My favorite flower, my mother's recipe, the name of the dog I'd had as a child. I loved the way he looked at me when he thought I wasn't watching, like I was something precious, something worth protecting. He was gentle, kinder than any man I'd known in my village. He never raised his voice, never demanded anything, never made me feel like I owed him something. He just loved me, quietly, patiently, endlessly, and I loved him back. The curse broke on our 30th anniversary. Not all at once, slowly, like ice melting in spring. One morning I woke up, and his claws were shorter. One evening I looked at him, and his fur was thinner. One night I touched his face and felt skin beneath my fingers. He was becoming human again. He didn't believe it at first. He'd been a monster for so long that he'd forgotten what it felt like to be anything else.
But I saw it.
I saw him. "You're beautiful," I told him, when his face was almost human, when his eyes were almost brown, when his voice was almost soft. He laughed, a rusty, broken sound. "I'm a monster. You're my husband. You've always been my husband." The monster was just armor. He reached for me. His hands were almost human now, warm and strong and real. "I love you," he said. "I've loved you since the night you took my hand. I just didn't know how to say it. You're saying it now. I'm saying it now." He kissed me. The first kiss we'd shared in 30 years. And the curse broke. The years after were the best of my life. He was human now, handsome, warm, real. We had children, then grandchildren, then great-grandchildren. We built a life together, in the castle hidden in the mountain, far from the village that had sacrificed me. I never went back. I didn't need to.
My family was here.
Seo Jun aged, the way humans age. His hair turned gray, his skin wrinkled, his steps slowed. But his eyes never changed. They still looked at me the way they'd looked at me on our wedding night, like I was something precious, something worth protecting. "You saved me," he said one night, when we were old, when our children had grown, when the world had moved on without us. "No," I said. I just stayed. Staying was saving. I held his hand. His human hand, warm and wrinkled and real. I'd do it again, I said. In every life, in every world, I'd find you and stay. He smiled. Promise? Promise. I died on a Tuesday. I was 77 years old, surrounded by children and grandchildren, holding Seo Jun's hand. He was old now, like me, his hair white, his face lined with years of laughter and love. The witch had cursed him to be alone. She'd never imagined someone would stay. I closed my eyes, heard him whisper my name, felt his fingers tighten around mine. Then darkness, then light, then my village, my mother's house, my 17-year-old body. I didn't hesitate. I didn't cry. I didn't mourn. I didn't waste a single moment wondering if I'd dreamed it all. I walked to the edge of the village, to the path that led up the mountain, and I started climbing. The cave looked the same,
Dark and cold and waiting.
I walked inside. No cage this time. No ropes. No white silk. He was there, sitting in the shadows, waiting for the next sacrifice, the next bride, the next girl who would scream and hide and die without ever knowing him. Seo Jun, I said. He looked up. His eyes glowed in the darkness. How do you know my name? I walked toward him. Didn't flinch. Didn't stop. Because I was your wife. For 60 years. In another life. He stood. Towered over me. That's impossible. I died in your arms. You held my hand and whispered my name. Our children were there. Our grandchildren. You told them stories about how we met, how I wasn't afraid, how I stayed. He stared at me. What's my mother's name? Yoon Hwa-young. She died when you were 12. Your father's name is Lee Suk-jin. He disowned you when the witch cursed you. The witch's name is... Stop. His voice cracked. Stop. I stopped. How? He whispered. How do you know these things? I reached up, touched his face. His fur was soft, softer than I remembered. Because I loved you for 60 years. Because I died in your arms. Because I came back to find you. He stared at me. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then he said, what was my favorite thing to do? Before the curse? I smiled. You loved to ride. Your horse was named Cloud. You'd sneak out at night and race through the fields, pretending you were free. He stepped back, shook his head.
No.
No, this isn't, you can't. I know about the witch, I said. I know how to break the curse. He froze.
How?
The curse wasn't about finding someone to love you. It was about finding someone you could love back. Someone who saw past the monster. Someone who stayed. I walked closer. I stayed, Seo Jun, for 60 years. And I'll stay again. For 60 more. For as long as you'll have me. He stared at me. His eyes glowed brighter, then dimmed, then glowed again. I don't understand, he whispered. You don't have to understand. You just have to trust me. He reached out, took my hand in his claws. I trust you, he said. And for the first time in 100 years, the monster smiled. I didn't break the curse that night. The witch's magic was old, powerful, woven into his bones. It would take time, years, maybe, to unravel. But I had time. I had patience. I had 60 years of practice. And I had him. We walked out of the cave together, into the moonlight. The village was dark below us. The world was sleeping. And we were alive. Do you want to go back? He asked. To your family? To your village? I looked at the lights flickering in the valley. My mother's house. My father's fields. My sister's room. No, I said. I want to go home. He looked at me. Where is home? I smiled. With you. The curse broke on our 10th anniversary. Not slowly like before.
Faster.
He was human again within a year. His claws gone, his fur gone, his face familiar and beloved. I cried. He held me. Thank you, he whispered. For finding me. For staying. For coming back. I looked at him, my husband, my monster, my heart, and smiled. I'd find you in every life, I said. In every world. I'd always come back. The witch returned on our 15th anniversary. She was old now, older than the mountain, older than the curse, older than memory. She'd felt her magic breaking, felt her hold on him slipping, and she'd come to reclaim what was hers. She appeared in our garden at midnight, surrounded by shadows and smoke. "You think you've won," she said. "You think you've broken my curse. But I am eternal. I am endless. I am—" "You're lonely," I said. She stopped. I walked toward her. "You cursed him because he rejected you. Not because you loved him, because you wanted to be seen. You wanted someone to notice you, to fear you, to remember you." She stared at me. "You're not eternal," I said. "You're forgotten. No one remembers your name. No one tells your stories. You're a footnote in a legend about a prince and a monster. Don't. You cursed him to be alone. But you've been alone longer. You've been alone for centuries. And you'll be alone for centuries more, because no one will mourn you. No one will visit your grave. No one will whisper your name." She raised her hand to strike me. Seo Jun stepped between us. "No," he said. "No more." The witch stared at him. "You dare." "I dare." He was human now, standing in his own garden, protecting his wife. "You cursed me. You took everything from me. But you can't take her. You can't take this." He took my hand. "Leave," he said. "Leave and never come back." The witch looked at us, together, unafraid, unbeaten. Something flickered across her face. Envy.
Despair.
Something that might have been regret. Then she vanished. She never came back. We lived to be old again. Not 77 this time. 85. 90. 100. The curse was gone. The witch was gone. And we were free. Our children grew. Our grandchildren grew. Our great-grandchildren played in the gardens where we'd walked, in the castle hidden in the mountain, in the home we'd built together. One night, when we were very old, Seo Jun turned to me and said, "Do you regret it? Staying?" I looked at him, his white hair, his wrinkled face, his eyes that still looked at me like I was something precious. "No," I said. "I never regretted it. Not once. Even though you died? Especially because I died." I took his hand. Death made me realize how precious life was. How precious you were. I wouldn't trade a single moment. He smiled. Neither would I. We sat together, watching the moon rise over the mountain, and we were happy. I died on a spring morning. The sun was warm, the flowers were blooming, and Seo Jun was holding my hand. "I'll find you," he whispered. "In the next life. I'll find you." I smiled. "I know." I closed my eyes, felt his fingers tighten around mine. Then darkness. Then light. Then a village I didn't recognize, a body I didn't know, a life I hadn't lived. But somewhere, in the distance, I heard a monster roar. I smiled, and I started walking.